Good morning, boys and girls. Does anybody like mission stories? Do you like mission stories? We like mission stories. Our kids grew up on mission stories. We used to read a lot of mission stories, and they just were very fond of finding out things in the other countries. I'm telling you a story about Africa today, and that's where this mission offering's going to. Your offerings are going to. But this is in the country of Uganda. And the mountains there, it was called the Mountains of the Moon. That was an interesting name for a mountain, Mountains of the Moon, and it was in West Uganda, and it was right on the border of Congo. And there lived a Christian woman. But her husband was not a Christian. He was not a Christian. He didn't believe in God. But this woman had great faith in her God. She believed in God. She had great faith in her God. He is in heaven. He is on earth, she would say, and he's in my heart. My God is big, and my God is strong. Is our God big and our God strong? Yes. And she believed that. She said, my God is big, and my God is strong. And her non-Christian husband, he didn't like to hear all that, but she was faithful. And one day, her little child, she had probably a little boy or girl, the story doesn't say, and he got very sick. And the husband says, ha, 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 where is your God now? And the mother said, my God is right here. My God will make my child well. And he did. He made her child well. And one day there was no food and there was no money to buy any food or anything. And the husband says, ha, 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 where's your God going to get us money for food? Where's your God now? And the wife said, my God is right here. He's going to supply all our needs. And he did. Does he answer prayers? And then one day there was trouble in the family. And the husband said, ha, ha, ha. He laughed at her and he says, where's your God now? Where is your God when we have trouble in our family? And the woman says, my God is right here. My God will get us out of trouble. And he did. He got them out of trouble. Well, the husband was getting tired of hearing all this, that my God can do this and my God is strong, and he did. And he says, I'm tired of this. My wife thinks that her God can do everything for her. I'm going to go across the river and I'm going to go to Congo. I'm going to go away for a couple of weeks, and I just want to get away. And so he did, but he had a key in his room, and he locked the door to his room, and he left the key to his wife. He says, I'm going to leave this key for you to keep safe, that nobody gets it. And so he gave her the key, and he said that nobody goes in my room, because he had more than one wife. In Africa, sometimes they have a couple of wives. And he didn't want anybody else in his room, and so he gave her the key, and she said, all right, I will do just that. I'll keep the key in a safe place. I will hide it in the house. And she showed him where she hid it. She hid it, and she did good. And she said, it'll be safe, and it'll be here when you get back. And he says, okay. So the man started down the trail and down the road to Congo, and the wife went out to the garden to work in the garden, and then he stopped. He goes, we'll see how strong her God is. He turned around, he went back to the house, and what did he do? The wife wasn't in the house. She didn't see him come back. He went and got the key. He put it in his pocket. And he goes, now what is my wife going to do? See how strong her God is. How is her God going to get this key out of my pocket? And so he just had this self-assured, he says, I'm going to see what her God can do. So he went away, and he said, I'm just tired of the way my wife talks about her God. I'll just take this key. She'll pray, and she'll pray, and she'll pray, but he won't be able to get it out of my pocket. He can't. I know he can't. I'll show her that he can't. And so he kept one hand in his pocket to make sure the key was in there. I wonder what she'll do. What do you think she would do? I think she'll pray. She'll pray because whenever she was in trouble, she would pray. And he kept walking down the path, and then he came to a little river, and he knelt down and he got a drink because Africa's hot. So he went and he got a drink, and he sat down there, and he rested for a while, and he looked at that key in his pocket. He had that key in his pocket, and he goes, what if I lose this key in Congo? He said, I know what I'll do. This is what I'll do. And there was a big tree there by the side of the river, and he says, I'll dig a hole, and I'll put this key in the hole. And when I come back, I will open the hole up, and I'll get the key out. And that's what he did. He put the key in the hole, and he dug a hole and covered it up, and he was so self-assured, and he says, no one's going to find that key, and when I come back, I will get it. And sometimes he'd say, I wonder what my wife was saying now. I wonder what she's thinking. This time, she'll find that her God is not so big as she thinks he is. So, but back home, the Christian woman was praying. She came in from the garden that day that he left, and she looked to see if the key was there, and it was gone. The key was gone. Now, who had taken the key? There was no one else that came in the house, and it was gone. She knew that her husband was the only one that knew where that key was at, but it was gone. She asked the other wives, and if they had seen the key, and they says, no, they shook their heads, and they says, okay, now what are you going to do? Where is your God? Because these weren't Christian either. And she says, my God is alive. My God is powerful. My God knows where that key is at. And I will pray to him. He will bring that key back to me before my husband comes home. The Christian woman smiled a big smile, and the other woman just kind of wondered, what is she talking about? It was nearly 2 weeks past, and it was time for the husband to return, and he walked along the road, and he says, now what will my wife tell me? What will my wife tell me? At last he came to the river, and he sat down, and he got a drink, and he sat down, and he goes, oh, there's the tree. That's where I put my key. That's where I buried my key. But when he was gone, there was a big heavy rain. And the rains washed the bank away. And it washed the key into the river. And his key was gone. Oh, his key was gone. Now what shall I do? What shall I do, he said. His key was gone. All the way home, he was saying, what shall I do? What shall I do? What shall I do? I was the one that took the key. Well, he got home, and he found his wife, and he says, where is my key, he said. He knew what happened, but he said, where's my key? It's here in its place, she answered as she went and got it and gave it to him. There it was. Where did you get that? Didn't you leave it here with me, she said. Yes, he answered, but I came back and took the key when you were in the garden. I took it all the way. I was going to take it to Congo, and I was afraid I'd lose it in Congo, so I buried it under a tree by the riverbank, and the rains came and washed it away. I knew your God couldn't get you the key. I knew that you wouldn't find the key, and he wouldn't return it to you. Well, said the wife, when I found that the key was gone, I prayed to God. I prayed that God would bring your key back to me. I knew he would, and he did. How did he bring that key back to you? Asked husband. Well, yesterday I bought a fish so that I could make you some food. When you came home and when you returned, I wanted to make you a good meal. And when I opened the fish, it was in the belly of the fish. There was your key. Your God must be a true God, said the husband. I will worship him today and always. And he did. Does God answer prayers? He answered the prayers of that little lady in Uganda. And does he answer your prayers when you talk to him? Even if he brings a key back in the belly of a fish, you can go back to your seats.
Amen.